I think if they win today, this will be their greatest win in 25 years. It'll be the greatest win this club's had in a quarter of a century.
For them to find themselves on grand final day and for them to win this grand final is a huge achievement, and I hope gets acknowledged that way should they get up today.
They've done it. The best team all year.
To fully appreciate the adversity that would come Hawthorn's way, let's recall the series of events as they would come to pass. Their superstar and the highest paid player in the game, Lance Franklin, defected to Hawthorn's biggest premiership threat, the Sydney Swans. Then, after 3 early wins, the walls began to crumble. Liam Shields, first to go missing, 6 matches. Norm Smith medalist Brian Lake, 7 matches. 4-time best and fairest Sam Mitchell, 9 games. Another best and fairest, Josh Gibson, also out for 9. And inspirational forward Cyril Rioli would miss a total of 13 games. Add to that the biggest off-field hit of any premiership contender for the year, with coach Alistair Clarkson struck down with Guillain-Barré syndrome, unable to coach for 5 weeks.
The hardest decision was actually missing the first week. Once I missed the first week, then for me it didn't really matter whether I was gone for 2 weeks, 2 months. The club would put the changes in place that they need to, and away they go, and that's what happened.
But still, this side would make it all the way to their 4th grand final in 7 years. But only just.
Wingard is gold. They're back within 16.
I think some of our players already had their mind on grand final day in the last 10 or 15 minutes of the game.
They're a big chance. Pollock from 55 metres. It's right there. It's there.
Margin now 10 points, 4 minutes to go.
Port got the numbers. Boat court. Wingard 70 out. Gets it in. Oh boy.
Oh yes.
This is marked. Monfries is marked. Port are back within 4 points.
When they got to 4 points, starting to get a little bit nervous.
We found ourselves against a tide of momentum that was really, really difficult to stop.
Half an hour before, it felt like we'd already won, and then they just kept coming and coming and coming.
But inspirational captain Luke Hodge would have the final say.
Brilliant smother, Hodge. What a smother from Luke Hodge.
That moment will go down as one of the best for Hawthorn fans.
Hawthorn have made the grand final. Hawthorn have won.
Finally get on the end of a really close one. It was a great feeling.
And so Alistair Clarkson's men were through to their 3rd consecutive grand final. And from that potentially horrific season would come arguably the finest moment in Hawthorn's modern history, and certainly the defining moment for this remarkably resilient group.
Hawthorn rolling the dice. Away we go. Opening bounces of beauty. Clark first hand to it. McGlynn lays it off. Parker down towards half forward. Birchall, unkind bounce. Burgoyne did well. Birchall gets it back from Mitchell. Jabs it forward at the wing and Hale. Birchall runs on. Hale thinks about it. Doesn't give. Kicks inside the forward 50. Going back Hodge. Off hands. Close to the boundary. Bruce out of bounds.
And are you happy with the matchups at this stage, Alistair? It's only early, but you happy?
Yeah, it's always pretty frantic early in the game, just trying to work out the patterns and who's playing in what position and whether things are all settled. But the really, really good sides in the competition work to a system, and usually that system also involves players playing in certain positions. So, yeah, it's surprising how accurate we all are. in terms of getting the matchups right and that sort of stuff. And you know, at this point in the game, there was no real surprises to us. You know, the guys started in the forward line for Sydney that we expected to. You know, the Sydney defenders picked up the guys we sort of expected to, and the matchups in the middle of the ground were as expected too.
Langford, of course, on interchange, so we wonder when he'll come on and who he runs straight to. McGlynn dropped it down. Kennedy trying to get it out. He's had a fair while. He's gone. On the ball.
Shields. What's that, mate? I thought he was trying to mark the ball, mate. Yeah.
You didn't just decide to play Cyril, you started him in the middle. Was that a big call? When did you make that call, and how big a call was it for you?
Oh, because he hadn't played a lot of football, it was really making a statement to him more than anything that we had full faith that he was not only just going to be able to play the game, but actually make a significant contribution. And not only did we think he could play, but we thought he could really provide good service for us.
Well, I had a pretty big session 2 weeks before it, and the hammy didn't quite pull up too good. And a few days later, I had another crack out in skills, and it was going pretty good. So then decided to make my appearance in the Box Hill AFL Grand Final, and that pulled up pretty good. He's a fine player, he's got a good temperament, and he's coming in back. Not quite, though. It was an awful-looking kick, to be honest, but in the end, it's only the result that counts.
Malcheski, short, dangerous, live ball, Rampy. Malcheski out of the back pocket. This time goes for distance, close to the boundary line, Tippett almost. McGlynn camped in front. Parker didn't have it surely, but he'll get the free kick. What a star he's become. Luke Parker, across half-back. Stuttering start to the grand final so far. Parker goes along the line. Kennedy, uncontested mark. Lacks marking. Kennedy, famous Hawthorn name. Looking down towards half forward. Jabs it again, trying to honour the lead of Tippett, and Tippett, despite the sunshine in his eyes, took a great mark.
And Lake was on the mark there, so Tippett was able to free himself from Lake to fall forward. Huge fly from Franklin, first goal. Jack goes back. Lloyd, they've messed it up. Puopolo, ball, high tackle, surely there on Gunston, I think, and a boundary throw in. So the Swans blew it in the end.
Matt, your first real impact on the game, so it's an important moment for you in some ways.
Yeah, I suppose I just wanted to, I had a focus for the day. I was just sort of not die wondering was really the only way I wanted to go about it. I suppose any opportunity to sort of go back and help give out in those situations, you take them. I'm still a bit flat I didn't actually hold it. But no, it was good. Good, I suppose, sort of set the tone for my game for the day that I wasn't going to shirk any context.
So just talking about playing against Buddy, was there a lot of verbal toing and froing going on? How'd you like? We just saw some push and shove there. What was the theme from the boys? Did they just treat him like another player? Did you try to get into his head?
Well, I think as you saw there, he instigated a little bit of that. So I think he was just as pumped up to play against us as what we were. But as far as Sydney, if you focus on one forward in the Sydney team or one player in the Sydney side, then there's got so many other quality players that are going to embarrass you. So we did have a focus to go out there and make sure no matter what person was wearing the Sydney jumper, we were hard at them. We were pretty much keen to beat them, not just Bud.
No easy kicks early. Lewis, that one scrubbed. McVeigh and Puopolo. Jim McVeigh clever. Brilliant handball from Richards. McVeigh down the line. Tippett, well played late. Burgoyne, Mitchell, Lewis, some familiar names there.
Up towards the wing. Hanbury got the crumb, in trouble, coughed it up. Puopolo goes with the outside of the boot. Down towards half forward, bounces high in the air. Malcheski, unfazed, came to meet it, goes in short. Brilliant gather on the half volley there by Jack to McGlynn. Now Kennedy, long kick, goal. First of the grand final, Josh Kennedy.
First goal of the day, how did that feel?
Yeah, well, it's reflective of what footy's like nowadays. You know, Puopolo had the ball and the ball come off the sid of his boot and goes in the middle of the ground, and the ball gets in the hands of Malcheski in that part of the ground with a shallow turnover. And then Joey kicks a goal from 60 out.
If you looked at the week before against Port Adelaide, we learned a lot from that game. In the first quarter, Port Adelaide smashed us. They were on top of us. They were out pressuring us, where you could tell, even though Sydney got the first goal, the first 4 or 5 minutes, we were playing some good pressure football. So were they. So just because they got the first goal, it didn't affect our mindset at all.
It was a really good contest early in the game, and both sides were having a genuine crack. And you never like seeing a goal go through for the opposition, but at this point in time, the patterns of the game suggested this was going to be a really tough contest all day.
Kennedy kicked 2 goals a couple of years ago in the 2012 grand final. So Sydney with that opening goal looked a high one. Hanbury going down low. The first one was on Parker. Bruce, good tackle by Parker. Reed back to Shaw. Now Chesky again to set up, as Tom said. He really orchestrated a moment ago. Not a great kick now. Gibson sits and waits, and Stratton in front of him. Franklin to put the pressure on. Burgoyne, normally very reliable with ball in hand, and that one he just misses the target. Langford did well. Sidestep Jetta. You'll be disappointed, Jetta. Langford to fall forward in a dangerous spot. Gunston in a good contest with Rampy. Roughhead sits and waits. Handballs to Smith. Hanbury turned him. Did very well. Ball coming back from McAvoy. Roughhead couldn't quite get the kick to ripping across the boot, and then Lloyd squeezing it out.
Masterful by Richards moments ago. Great tackle there by McVeigh. Eventually, though, Gibson gave it to Burgoyne to half forward. That was Rioli, I think. Identified flying object. He hit the deck. Gathered by Smith. Goes to Parker. Wheeling around under pressure is Shaw. Hoists it back just outside the 50. And Langford takes the mark. So good against Port Adelaide. Finds himself about 55 metres out. He'll pump it back in. Long ball down towards the kick-off line. McAvoy in front. Almost stuck. Socked away by Rampy. In all sorts of trouble down there. Was in the back. I think it might have been.
Seen a lot of costly missed shots in recent years in big games, in particular in grand finals. You just don't expect Gunno to have the wrong kicking bit on. He missed a couple early, didn't he? Which doesn't really set a great tone.
Yeah, and I mean, compared to years before where we probably shot ourselves in the foot with one grand final in 2012, and we even missed a few in 2013, you do realise how much it can cost you with missing some simple shots early.
And while Gunston missed, Sydney's prize recruits were having an influence.
So Gunston missed by a lot there. He doesn't do that, Lloyd. That's better. Tip it. Got it on the boot. Way up the ground again. Goods did very well. He slipped Stratton there. Now where's Franklin? He's up in front and he's on a lead, and Goods is going to honour it. And Buddy's got it. And he's within range. That's the mark there.
A little ear massage there, Matty. Not a bad one.
Yeah, I suppose I'm a bit old school. I don't mind throwing one out if I can.
Does it rub the head into the ground as well?
I was a little bit angry I let him get past me anyway. We had the positioning right there, and he's pretty agile, big bud. So I was a little bit of anger taken out on him.
So the first big moment for Franklin in the grand final. He's hit it high and hard, but wide, and it's a behind. So good slip by Goods too. I mean, that was really smart what he did on Stratton.
You can see McAvoy went on to the ball then, and the first thing he did was go straight back to the back 50. He's going to try and get back there as well, big boy.
Mitchell seems to be okay. Kicked it to Mitchell. Goes close to the boundary line. Lewis nursed a heavy cork during the week, comes back towards half-back, opens up the middle. Gibson runs onto the footy, runs inside the centre square, comes out wide. Gunston, tricky one. Malcheski crumbs it, goes down towards half-forward, low down, well done Goods. Goods about 55 metres out, running past Hanbury, natural left footer. Well, that wasn't his best effort. Never on line.
So Birchall, very short to Lewis.
Right on it.
So good to see Birch was okay.
Next, open. Move it on.
So Josh Kennedy, the lone goal scorer in this opening term. Kicks to a pack. McAvoy, Hale trying to get there with Pike. Bull squeezes out to Shaw. Shaw bangs it back in. Son the factor. Birchall, Franklin flying high. Stratton, well done, Hodge. Spanger, still Spanger. Turns back to Stratton. Stratton on the left. They might open up here. That's Hill and Jetta. This will be something. Where's Usain Bolt right now? Looking, waiting. Hill. Jetta corrals him, and the fun goes away for just a moment, but it might be for the Hawks. Suckling, well done, Puopolo.
Good confidence in Poppy when he lines up, Ruffy?
Yeah, I do. I think he can kick, close to 50, and he backs himself in a lot of the time. So when he got the ball, and just went straight back, and he knew just from watching him here, gives it the double cobra, but pretty important part to get a score on the board. It's probably 10 minutes in, a bit longer, and we finally kicked our first goal, so it was good.
Parker falling to the ground, got it to Kennedy, hot footy. Bruce emerges with it, slips it away to Lewis. Lewis sweeping hand pass towards the wing, more in hope. Hammerbury slammed to the turf by Bruce.
We rep with this, Russ.
Yeah, it just shows his rugby league background, doesn't it? Just picks him up.
The way the ball fell, and I turned around and his hips were right there, and luckily enough, picked his legs up and was able to drive him into the ground. So I was pretty happy with it.
I'm a coach, and every coach in the competition wants to put fierce pressure on them. So we've been rehearsing that for 22 home and away and 2 finals, and hadn't got anywhere near that standard for the whole of the year.
Richards sends it up towards half forward, camped underneath it there, Reid, bumped away by Spanger, taken by Goods, slippery hand pass, Lloyd traps it, kicks inside the forward 50, good kick too. A lot of Hawks were back, he kicked to the space, and Franklin's hurt.
Again, Lakey made him earn it.
You just can't help those things sometimes, can you? You're a bit clumsy. You put all your effort into trying to get that ball. You've got these arms and legs that just fly everywhere.
He's been a bit sloppy with his conversion against Hawthorn. Needs to kick this one. Franklin. But he comes. That hurts. He wins on points, at least in the short term.
So Bud kicks a goal, they're all jumping up and down. You see the backmen, they always get together. Shawnee, Matty, what are you guys talking about there?
No, we're just obviously telling Lakey, chin up, go for the next one. Just refocus on the areas that we want to focus on, and just to keep attacking the game.
Yeah, that's really important, just readdressing the values, because I don't know, if it happens to you, can, like a little bit of doubt might creep in your mind just for a split second, and then everyone's like, nah, stuff out, let's go again, and straight away we're on.
You come into it, you have a real impact on the actual game in the next 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose in grand finals past, I haven't had a great impact early, so I've got a couple of touches and a couple of tackles, so just to get involved early and feel like you're a part of it always helps, because years prior it's probably taken till after half time to get a kick or get a score on the board.
Swans by a goal here, and Franklin has kicked the first quarter goal. Burgoyne, good kick, laces it out. And Bruce right on his range, you would think. Gunston, the other sharpshooter, missed rather badly from closer in. Similar angle, maybe a touch tighter, Gunston. He went a long time this year without missing, Bruce. It's a good kick. That's a terrific finish. And again, scores a level.
Shawnee, did it surprise you how pronounced favourites Sydney were? I mean, the entire football world had declared them short price favourites, should win. That seemed amazing to me, given I think you'd shared the home and away matches during the course of the year, and the top 2 teams playing off.
Yeah, no, it didn't surprise me. I thought, well, like most people, Sydney were probably the standout team all year. They deserved to be favourites. I think, we didn't really, to be honest, internally, we didn't really worry about that. We just worried about the things that we can control, having confidence in your teammates around you. So in terms of the public, having Sydney as favourites, well, I thought that was right. They deserved that, and, that probably helped play into our hands a bit, that we were just able to just cruise into the grand final, worry about what we wanted to worry about, and leave all that external stuff to the people out there.
Mike wins it down. Parker. Jack, a fumble. Gibson did well. Birchall bounces it towards the outer side. Cunningham, what an emerging player. In all respects right there. Hanbury sold into trouble by Shaw. Taken down.
Hospital hand pass.
Still a good tackle though. The ones that hurt.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when your ruckman's doing that to a small fella. It doesn't get him high, which
Just unlucky.
a lot of ruckmans probably do.
Yeah, it's just unlucky. Hanbury found himself on the end of a few good tackles there.
It's like a snowball. It just grew in momentum as the game wore on, and when other players saw one another making the commitment and sacrifice that they did, they wanted to join in.
Mitchell coming in. Gets it back to Gibson on the right side of him, but touch off the boot, Rioli. We haven't seen a lot of except for that spectacular fly. That was brilliant by Cyril to full funnel. Where did Richards pull that one out from?
Now, what about bouncing up quickly, Ruff? What happened there?
It actually got me good.
Oh, what, knee to the back of the head?
Yeah. It hurt.
Are you angry now?
I was a little bit angry because I thought it was a third man over the top, so I was going to have a go.
You turn around and sprayed us.
I was going to turn around and spray someone that don't allow your man, but then when I saw it and I realised it was Teddy, I thought, oh, I can't really say much. I'll look at it tomorrow in the paper.
Gunston from about 70 metres out sends it down towards full forward. Going back, Grundy got a fist on it. Dangerous spot though. Hill ample time. Turns around and kicks the goal. Hawthorn lead.
Now, that must have made you guys think some real doubts in their mind. I mean, he's run back, could have marked it, tentatively punched it and back into the corridor.
Yeah, it's funny because not much was actually said to him at the time. I mean, you know, you could easily all run up to Grundy and all have a crack at him, but, you know, it was just, you know, you don't know if one of our backmen would have done the same thing in that position, so, I mean...
No, mate. Oh,
that's a sledge on you, folks.
In the shadows, beyond the wing, big pack at the full. Almost Franklin's ball. Burgoyne did well. Puopolo back to Lewis.
Lewis, beautiful kick to Mitchell. Wants to go back or sideways, laterally. Burgoyne just eluded the tack. I got through too easily in the end. Gibson, Burgoyne summing it up with Shields. They've worked this pretty well, Hawthorn. Good kick. Brilliant mark.
In traffic, just not bothered at all by all the Sydney players that were trying to get a handle on it. Made it look easy, surely a bit of silk.
not quite easy. Yeah, we just wanted to take them on. Back your judgment and able to work our way through it. So
Yeah, he's a pretty special player, Shawnee, and he's electric when he's got the footy. So whatever happened, I think all the Sydney players just trying to run away from him a little bit, and he waved through a few and shot off the hands to me, and Gunners took a great mark forward of the ball.
How good was the left foot kick, though?
It's just a pity he didn't kick the goal. That's the only thing.
We call him Silk, and he lives up to his nickname. So we're very, very lucky to have him. And I know he's also probably one of the best highlights tapes we've watched as well. We watch milestone videos, and I remember his last milestone we watched. And a lot of guys wouldn't have realised how much good work he did at Port Adelaide, but you see just vision of him streaking away and kicking goals. And you can't tackle him. You're right. So no, we love playing with him, and glad he's on our side.
Gonna do the pass. Smith, Malcheski run down holding the footy. Has there been a whistle? Well, apparently not. Everybody stopped. Malcheski was pushed in the back. No whistle there either. Shaw clears the zone.
Gee, they were lucky there, the Swans. Tippett, Lake. Lake wins that one on the up. Gee, Suckling had it a while, did well, and Gibson was brave. Played by Gibson to Lake. To Hodge, you knew one was coming. Burgoyne never rushed. Neat kick, brilliant kick, Burgoyne to Bruce. Hawks are on top here. They might do some damage. Cyril couldn't quite. And a boundary throw in.
Scream in the box for this one. Yeah, I think it might have had a little bit of a word that I thought that should have been a free kick.
Boundary throw in. Hale tries to backhand it down. Gee, they've been hard on Hanbury. That was a big hit. I think it was McAvoy or Roughhead that got him. Meantime, in the goal square, Gunston.
Here we go. Ruffy, we spoke out on the ground after the game. And I asked you about that, and you said you knew it was good because it hurt him, and he felt it, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just one of those ones that just went perfectly. I mean, he jumps up and my shoulder was about at his gut height, and I thought it's either going to be a free kick or he's not going to hold on to it, and it ended up being an all right hit, I reckon.
And I could see the big fellow wound up, and you could sort of see the look in his eye that you would hate to be any person that was in his road. And then obviously once he made contact, you could hear the sound of it, which you knew was he connected pretty well.
When he hit him, I thought he was going to stay down for a while, and lifted everyone around, all the boys, and even me. It was awesome.
You don't get those chances very often, and a guy like Ruffy's always going to make the most of them.
He was getting hammered during that stage of the game, and he's just such a tough nut. You see him just get up. Yeah, you can see he's
He was feeling it though.
Yeah, I know, but
took its toll.
Saw Hanbury on the ground, but I had no idea what happened. I was probably too busy carrying on and celebrating that I'd finally kicked one straight.
They lead by a couple of goals. Gunston and Bruce have hit the ball. That's important. Hale wins the tap. Hodge gets Parker wrapped up. Ball squeezes to McGlynn to Goods. Goods to fall forward. Franklin. Oh, yes, he has. That was magnificent.
What's he do here? Lee checks side or
Keeps a kick right to left. Let's see if he can fashion one.
He's missed it. And that's the first time they've been inside 50 since his last shot on goal, which was 10 minutes ago.
Always seems to find plenty of the ball against the Hawks. Ball comes outside the 50 from the kick-off. Lloyd's in front. Oh, well done by Lake. Back to Lewis. Into the path of Mitchell. Mitchell, 4 times best and fairest. Interesting kick. Hill now. Looks inside the 50, forced to go back, nothing to kick to. Mitchell on the assist then, gets it across to Smith to Suckling. Normally a good kick, no chance to that time. Gets it across to Gibson. Gibson goes long down towards full forward. Malcheski.
Thanks, well, let him up.
Great judgment, good courage, committed to the pack.
But they're under the pump here, and it's a poor kick coming out. Rioli and Richards. Rioli, well done. Puopolo over the top. Rioli with a couple to beat. Thinking. Brilliant handball. Gunston missing. So Gunston's had 4 shots on goal in the opening term.
It's the small to medium-sized forwards for Hawthorn at the moment. Roughhead and the resting ruckman, whether it be Hale or McAvoy, not.
No. Well, Strachey did well enough for a moment. It looked as though he could pinch it.
They're not exerting, as I say, the key forward's not exerting huge influence, but this sort of area now, a stoppage, Swans defenders will need to be right on their mettle here.
And Reshaw looking anything but down there at the moment. Boundary throw in. Pike reaches over the top of McAvoy. Parker on the way down was tackled by 2 Hawks. Bruce left the ball behind. Puopolo claimed, and just as well. Waller, just over 3 minutes to quarter time. Hawthorn lead by 13. Pulsating stuff. Kennedy emerges with the footy, goes back to Cunningham, to Shaw. Around the outer side, Goods low down. Couldn't hang on. Spanger, brilliant. Langford spears the pass in, and it's held by the fast-leading Hodge. Game number 250.
Bit of a stabby kick, this one, Hodgie?
Yeah, I had a few shots before the game from this pocket, and I think they all did the exact same thing. So obviously didn't learn from the mistakes.
So 2 goals fall from set shots, the Hawks. That's the only thing not working for them in the opening term. Tippett and McAvoy. Again, terrific pressure put on Parker. Gunston so lively. Langford couldn't get the tackle away. Cunningham, poor handball. Rampy. Kennedy. Still Kennedy worked over the line.
The tackle numbers are the telling statistic from the first quarter. That's 18-6 now. In the 2012 grand final, it was 110 Sydney to 84. The Hawks have certainly turned the tables from that game.
Hawks attacking. McAvoy and Tippett. In front, Lewis behind the pack. Dangerous manoeuvre. Jetta. Hodge, wonderful tackle. Pinned him. Ball up.
Yes, you know, John Longmore's quarter-time address already. Fellas, if you're not going to tackle, if you're not going to work and chase and pressure, we're not going to be able to play our game.
Lewis, again, first hand of the footy. Kennedy battling hard, hacked out of there by Smith, taken by Melcheski, boots it back towards the wing. Reid left it behind, not so Burgoyne. Works a little 1-2 with Birchall. Spanger, Suckling in space. He's dangerous in this situation. Back to Spanger. Drives it inside the forward 50, and the mark is taken nicely by Melcheski.
It's been good, Melcheski. He was lucky to get away with one early when he was holding the ball, but he's been very good. Grundy, Rowan, out wide, Jetta, nothing from him so far, gets a bad bounce, but he's got McAvoy here. You think he's got it on his terms almost. McAvoy did really well though. Smith also a runner, corralled, but he gets a good kick away to full forward. Poppy flies, they all fly at the back, ball not quite out. Langford's going to kick a goal, and Hawthorn get 5 in the opening term.
This is terrific by Piopolo in there. You know, we're outnumbered there, and he forces a ground level player to get Langford the opportunity to score a goal.
Another double copper, which is a common theme amongst
that
the
one was
boys.
probably better just because he give it a bit more. Like he rated it himself. I think. Probably kicked the first one, but Langer's here, you know. He kicks straight for the day, but yeah, like just here, like he just gives it a fair bit.
Yeah, and the hair's all nice.
Yeah, it's just like you could put that on a poster or a Hawthorn membership, and everyone would be pretty happy with it.
especially Langers, he's really pleased with it.
Back in the middle, 20 points the margin. Almost quarter time. Shields goes down. Hawthorn have been terrific in the last 15 minutes.
Fine. Yeah, this way, guys.
Sydney in
Just
trouble.
1 metre.
How about that, Bruce?
Yeah.
Big day for you. Jack. Parker always under pressure. No exception there. McAvoy. Well, Lloyd tried to feed it back to Parker. Wonderful desperation by Lewis.
And again, so hard in Lewis, wasn't he? It was a 50-50. He's been cut up here, Lewis.
You're right, mate. Thanks, George. Take your time. Blood rule, Hawthorn.
Good to see a little bit of blood.
Oh, his missus was a bit flat about that for the wedding 2 weeks later, I think. But Louis was happy with it.
So maybe not enough time.
Hawthorn.
Maybe there is enough time. Shields quickly gets it from McAvoy, kicks to full forward. Richards to tidy up at the back, and that's going to do it at quarter time. So Hawthorn, the defending champions, win the first quarter by 20 points.
And I think coming in at quarter time, it was clear that we were all on the same page, and that's a really good feeling. And you just, in some sense, wait for the other team to come at you, but we just didn't allow that throughout the game, and it was probably the most complete game that I've been a part of.
The Langford goal actually did give us a little bit of a buffer there to say we could be satisfied that we'd put enough scoreboard pressure on the Sydney side now to actually reward ourselves for our good play in that quarter. Gave us some momentum going into the second quarter.
The MCG under partly cloudy skies now. Grand final afternoon. And Hawthorn have got the flying start. Second turn. Hale locks up with Pike. Pike frees himself, won it down. Hodge was pushed in the back, missed the footy. Mitchell, bit important. Suckling hanging off the pack. Drives it long inside the forward 50. Difficult ball to mark. Langford gathered it nicely. Hurried kick down towards full forward. Bruce leading back in the race. Almost through. Got him at the last moment. Kennedy, he's tried hard. Melcheski. Lloyd back to Melcheski.
Floating kick, never really struck it. Franklin, well done, Gibson that time. And as far as Shaw to Jack, they may be able to split them here. Jack's handball is good. McGlynn within range almost. Goes for goal. And it is one. Great start, Penny McGlynn.
Whenever you start a quarter and a side gets the first goal, your mentality is that we need to get the next one, because if a dangerous side like Sydney or nearly any side in the competition, if they do get a run on, they can pile on 4 or 5 goals in quick succession. So I suppose our mentality right now was to really get the next score on the board.
It wasn't great. They transitioned the ball from the defensive goal square with no pressure the whole way, so that was sometimes the way the goal comes is concerning.
114 points. Wide of the pack. Mitchell, brilliant. Hodge sends it inside the forward 50. Ball runs free like a hand grenade down there. Grundy. McAvoy stole it away. He's been so active. Gunston looks back towards the middle. McAvoy juggles the mark.
And then we've seen you play some wonderful footy when you actually read the ball coming towards you and you're in the back half of the ground over your career. How difficult has it been in this season to learn to be forward of the footy or at the footy and pick up the game that way? Because it's a change for you.
Yeah, it's certainly been a change, yeah. The game just looks a bit different and, I naturally played that way behind the footy as a junior and then probably been at the Saints. That was what we needed as well. So it's certainly been a change and something I still need to improve, I think.
What, you're kicking?
I blame that one on Ruff, actually. I was into Ruff in the warm-up going, what do I do with the wind and that? And he just kept telling me to go straight at it. And I did that. And then, of course, the wind got that one. So I'm blaming that one on Ruff.
Wind.
You put McAvoy forward and Hale in the ruck. I don't think many people would have anticipated that.
Yeah, well, Haley's been really important for us in the last 6 or 8 weeks of the season, and McAvoy hadn't been in the side, so we didn't. It was a big enough change for us. It was a really difficult decision to make. Segler had been a pretty important player for us throughout the course of the year, but given the size and strength of Tippett and also Pike, we just thought having another stronger, bigger player in McAvoy would help us in that regard.
It's a substantial opening turn by the Hawks, eroded by that McGlynn goal. Kennedy, good start for him. Tippett, Lake did well. Jack, who was involved in that last goal. Terrific tackle from Hodge, and then Lewis taken down by Reid.
Let it up, guys, let it up!
Not happy getting tackled there, Louis?
I don't know what happened there. Maybe just the AstroTurf got me.
Cheddar and Rowan have only had one touch between them. They're desperate for those guys to get their hands on the ball, get some run and carry happening.
And they were taken in the same draft for that very reason. John Longmire spoke to us about that this week. Lewis, well done. Mitchell off Reid. He talked about how hard they worked to get Rowan at 6 and Cheddar at 14 for that outside speed in the 09 draft. And they've got them to this point here in a grand final.
Jordan Lewis now up to 10 possessions. He's a tough guy. But for a moment last week, he wouldn't play this week. Not just playing, he's dominating out there. Hale. Langford gets it from Mitchell. Heard a voice. Spanger. Birchall, he's a left footer, runs himself into trouble, then out. Mitchell.
50 metres.
He's an honest man, Sam Mitchell. He knew it wasn't 15, but the umpire was stuck with the whistle.
Did you deliberately milk a 50, or did you think the kick was short enough that it would be called play on, so you went to handball over the top?
No, I hope that he thought that. I heard the whistle, so I knew it was a mark. So.
The boys aren't convinced about that.
Well, he's over 200, so you're always a chance for a 50. Haley?
It's like sledging, right?
But then again, boys, here's where we get to the problem.
Yeah.
Which foot are you going to kick it with, and is there any danger he ever kicks one straight?
Where's the jam
Left
team?
goes longer.
Well, I had a shot from almost the same spot about 3 weeks before I got touched on the line, the right foot, so I sort of...
Yeah, but that one never went more than 10 feet off the ground. Ever thought of just kicking through the ball normally?
No, I haven't actually.
Mitchell kicking with the left foot a moment ago. Out wide. Smith. So they've missed a lot here, Hawthorn. You just wonder. Canterbury should have got one there. Rampy, Brewster looks really sharp. That's just brilliant one-on-one stuff to McAvoy. Good sidestep, back to Shields. Shields has used the ball so intelligently today. And again to a hot spot. Bruce getting back, looking for a high tackle, and he gets it.
I think after the first quarter, it was probably one of the most intense quarters I've played throughout my career. So it's hard to match that and sustain that. So I suppose it was the side that didn't want to drop off the most, that would actually look like they're probably controlling the physical part of the game, and I think, within the first 4 minutes of the second quarter, no side was willing to drop off, and it was probably the scoreboard that really dictated which side then stepped the pressure up.
And that's how it felt as a defender, that my forward just had no fluency in his ability to lead for the ball, because the pressure we applied inside our forward 50 really sort of stopped their run. Tippett, Franklin just didn't know when to lead, because they just didn't know if we were going to have any time or space.
Fuzzy head or not. Is it coming back? It is. He's the first multiple goal scorer in the grand final, Luke Bruce.
I think that was a really important goal because we'd missed a couple of opportunities. If you watch this, like the quarter's been on for 4 minutes, and they got that quick transition goal, but we've had the control of the play the whole rest of the quarter, and we've missed 2 chances. Myself and Big Boy both missed shots. So when you get that shot, if he misses that, I think the pressure really starts to build because you're not making the most of your chances. So full credit to Punky there that he goes back even after taking a knock and has the confidence to just go back and nail it. Because I think that if he misses that, sometimes it can get in your head that we've got, as a team, you get the yip. So good finish.
Ruckman for a draw. The ball inadvertently struck Lloyd about 10 metres forward. With Pake's effort, you've got a ball up. Interesting, Bruce now has a streak of 17 straight goals from set shots here at the MCG. Hasn't missed one this season. Here's Mitchell, gets the arms free. Birchall, Suckling, caresses this ball out towards the wing. Langford from good stock. Races down towards half forward, pulls it back. All Sydney. Well, first man in the queue, Reid missed it, not Grundy.
And then close to the line, I think down the field. Downfield. Your kick. Downfield. Picked off Birchall. Hawthorn on their terms right now. Feeling like they're in control. I know it's very, very early. McVeigh couldn't take it. Rioli, Puopolo. Something exciting happens when they get involved. Rioli brilliantly getting through. Hung on to Shaw. Rioli again. Squeezed out. Malcheski. Rampy. Quick kick away. McAvoy filling the hole. He's been good, McAvoy. Short.
They've really built the wall, Den, with McAvoy, and Burgoyne's the other player who's just playing an uncontested game across half-back.
Suckling, Stevie J. Last moment bounced it to Gibson, gave it to Birchall. And on the lead, it's Mitchell.
They've just sifted back too far, the Swans.
Haley, you knew Mitch was desperate to pass that, didn't you? He just wanted an excuse to pass the ball.
Yeah, I think as soon as he hit the ground, he turned around and, it's good that I got eye contact with him.
A goal-kicking ruckman. Question of accuracy. Crowd tell the story. Sydney in trouble.
Well, they've had 21 of the last 23 inside 50s. Hawthorn. Birchall got it from Mitchell, who's been absolutely superb. And now Suckling to Birchall. Birchall, Hodge. Langford running hard, he'll fancy this. It's got enough, it's a goal. He's kicked 2, Will has. They're away.
That part when the crowd went crazy after that goal, that's when you start getting a few little goosebumps.
I remember just feeling like Hodge would probably end up with it, and I think he had his back to goal. And I think it was Dan Hanbury I was next to, and we'd sort of been a bit of back and forth, and I sort of thought I'll take off here and really sort of run hard and see what happens. And I don't think it was the world's best kick, really. It sort of just got over in the fingertip on the goal line.
How much did your dad contribute to the knowledge of what a grand final league?
Yeah, I remember that we watched grand finals as kids, and one thing that comes straight to mind is that he always says a grand final, it's like no other game, and it's very high pressure, and you just got to do the basics well. So I think going into the game, I had that in the back of my mind, not to try and do too much, just do the basics and play with real competitive spirit.
15 possessions now. McAvoy, Hawthorn rolling. Hodge slapping it down towards half forward. Gunston came up to meet it. Jack did well. McVeigh with the outside of the boot. Wanders out towards the wing. Shields accommodates his teammate Suckling. Pounds it back in again. Clears the pack down there. Rioli finessing. Stolen away by Richards. Was waiting. Gunston's got it. Rioli. This would be the icing on the cake. To get the cake, it goes out of bounds to the opposite pocket.
The Hawks were in devastating form and they were not done with yet.
Rough head, great smother from Smith, and as far as Shields, Ruffy gets a second crack, full forward, yep, and Hodgie. Well, they've gone for the jugular here.
They certainly have. The Swans are just so off their game. Hawthorn have just been outstanding. I guess that makes you off your game, but the Swans already have all these kind of negative thoughts now starting to bubble through the mind.
You can't score against the Swans unless you're Hawthorn, and that's what's happening today. Hodge scores the goal.
This is awesome. Wide at the pack, McGlynn fell over. Bruce, Mitchell. Lewis will run onto it. Goes down towards half forward. Making their own arrangements now. Hill spots Roughhead, too tall for Roughhead. Langford had it momentarily. Hand pass came from Smith. Hanbury goes back to the pocket. Malcheski drives it around the outer side. McAvoy with courage. And he collected Jetta. That was the aftermath. Collateral damage. Jetta slow to get up. Meantime, McVeigh's got it.
Did well, McVeigh. They want somebody to do something big right now. Lake and Franklin. Lake has a little win. Birchall to set up. He's got Hill wide here. He's going to go. To Shields on the burst. Goods will stretch here. He'll have to go for the man and get. Well, he should have given a free kick away. And then Shaw gets the free kick. Well, in the end, it was a good play by Goods. So Shaw off that step, but they're rattled. Sydney absolutely rattled here.
They're certainly rattled, and they've rolled one back now. There's Jetta. He's in a lot of trouble. He cops one on the way through here. They've rolled a number back, Sam Reid. Bit of friendly fire from McAvoy, but they just can't get it past halfway. 29 inside 50s to 8.
That was wonderful commitment by McAvoy. Just opened himself up, unaware of who was coming. Kennedy to Goods. McVeigh. Oh, well played. Burgoyne just stood his ground. Hill in trouble. Gang tackle. Here's trouble. Smith, the speedster is away. Couple of bounces. Searing run. Puopolo can run inside 50. One man to beat. He wrong foots Grundy. Kicks long and misses.
That would have been a good passage if Poppy finished it for you, Smithy.
Yeah, it would have been all right.
Just had the confidence he knew he could take his man. Oh, danger! Cut off. Hodge will kick a second. He does. The captain kicks the 10th.
Does that feel like you've broken their back when Hodgie just strolls in, takes an easy kick in like that and kicks it back over there?
No, it definitely doesn't feel like you've broken them. I don't think you ever feel like you break the Swans, to be honest, but it certainly feels like we're on top and we're making the most of our chances.
They're just playing so sharp, Hawthorn, so, boy, the Swans, this game has not worked out anywhere near what they were hoping.
Cops it down. Parker did well. Goods inside the forward 50. Burgoyne, who's been stellar, dropped the mark that time. Parker gave it across towards support, and Franklin, he went to ground. Loose ball in the pocket, tip it on his knees, cops it up. Stratton with composure goes to Bruce. Bruce short. And this is Hill at right half back. They're running them ragged. Stratton continues his run. Needs a favourable bounce. Gets it. Goes back to Hill. Hard against the boundary line. Lowers the eyes. That was almost overconfident. Got it to Gunston on the bounce. Now Stratton.
Off a step. Kicks to a one-on-one. Langford do well. Held the body. Kennedy's hands okay. Smith too slow. No. Got it to Lloyd. Then Lloyd to Richards. They've got to do something positive here. Richards to half forward. Tip at the man they go to. Finds it. Now Franklin deep. Two to beat though. Now does Tippett go short? But he wants it short. There's no one in the goal square. That's a terrible kick. That is an awful kick.
It's a panicked kick.
Yep. He's just spoiling the ball.
All options.
He's the last spoil the ball.
Sealed off there by the Hawthorn defence, both man on man and also getting a number back. That was a poor result for the Swans.
Hawks lead by 47 points. Boundary throw in. Sydney attacking. Hale with the backhander. Lewis, Hodge, McLean a chance. Oh, well tracked down there by Hodge. Quick thinking, got a boot to it. Now it's with Kennedy. He's taken down by Smith. Spills across towards Jack. A dangerous kick, and it works out well for the Swans. Goods, the champ, gets on the end of it. Has to kick this goal. Adam Goods gets it.
See, Goods is trying to really lift here. Like he might be an older bloke, doesn't play every minute of every game now, but he's still one of those guys we had to keep a really close eye on. I think I remember thinking at this point that we probably need to make sure he doesn't get his hands on it again.
Goods, the first non-Hawthorn player to kick a goal in the grand final. The other 3 goal scorers for Hawthorn were Kennedy, Franklin and McGlynn.
What's he like match up against? If you were standing there, somebody you have to take front spot?
Try and get someone else on him, to be honest. But Haley, this is pretty impressive from Haley.
I mean, you want it.
Yeah. That makes it pretty easy when you've got a ruckman that's doing that sort of thing. But this is where you have to worry about Goods, because now he's there. You know, he starts their transition again, so sometimes if they don't get you the first time, they get you the second, and that's what makes them such good players for so long a period.
A couple of touches coming up for you here, Brian. A couple of important passages of play to stop them keeping their momentum.
About time I've done nothing.
Hasn't been down there a lot, which is actually good for a defender, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Compared to last year's grand final.
Mitchell and Hodge, the two highest disposal games. Gee, they've been great players for a long time for Hawthorn, Mitchell and Hodge, and they're both turned it on today.
Both premiership captains, Leo.
Yeah, absolutely.
The heir apparent Jordan Lewis just behind them on 12.
Pike knocked it down. Speak of the devil, drives it outside the defensive 50, Lewis. Puopolo created his own space, kicks it up towards the wing. Coming hard, Bruce. Well done, Rowan. Haven't called his name too often. Jack, strong tackle, Mitchell. Hanbury, about 70 metres out from goal. Kicks to a contest. Franklin stayed on his feet. Hodge looks back across his shoulder. There was no support, so he escorted the ball across the boundary line.
Took a couple of good marks in the first term, Lakey, one on one. He was in good marking form this year, but that's a really good spoil because he's the one they're looking for to get him back into the game.
Yeah, definitely improved this year with his hands in this game, but the couple of stuck that I was reasonably surprised with. But yeah, as you know, when they're under a little bit of pressure and need to kick some goals, they're going to go to those important players, so you're definitely on your toes.
Hale and Pike. Third man Parker. Kennedy so strong, stood up. Hanbury belting it back, but it's very wide. And that's a good mark by Birchall.
The changing face of football, the game's so frantic now. How many messages would you receive from the coach on field, not just off the bench, or does it all happen off the bench now because you've got so many rotations? Do you get many delivered to you out in the ground?
I would say over the entirety of the game, maybe half a dozen to 10. It's usually when you've got a little bit of time when you come to the bench when they try and either get information from you or try and pass information through you to pass on to the ground. But I think, as Mitch said before, we've played together, for a lot of years now. So you tend to give people feedback out on the field, and you rely on teammates to a certain extent to give you feedback. So there's probably not too many messages that come direct from Clarko.
I think there's a lot of messages between players, so coaches, you don't want to rely on your coaches all the time, so they might send a message out to Taz and then he just passes it around the rest of us, so it saves the runner always being out there for no reason to give the same message to a heap of different guys.
Not a great handball. Richards, they'll get out, I think. Shaw. Next kick's the one, though, obviously. He has to be accurate, and he is. That's a terrific kick. Mark taken by Lloyd. Starting to work into the game a little bit. Neat kick. Quick release from Grundy. Shaw with some bounce to half forward. Spangler was engaged early by Jack.
Well, the kick just favoured the taller defender, didn't it? Just had to drop. Give Kieran Jack a chance.
Oh, Spanger, and falling over was Lake. Jack with a real chance here. Lake, Jack, great tackle, Lake, got him.
So what goes through your head when you hit the deck here?
Now, I'm not going to repeat exactly what I was thinking, but I thought I had a little bit more time, but then I've got up and saw Jack actually burn past me, so
Well, when you first got up, you looked like you're running in quicksand.
Yeah, I was thinking of... wonder what Clarko's thinking right now. Is there any holes in the wall?
It worked out nice because Ruffy cut him off and he had to step back into your park.
Yeah. And being a left footer, I just wanted to tackle, to be honest.
Oh, Sydney, advantage.
Had the call, paid the free kick. Kennedy goes long down towards full forward. In front, Lake, Franklin juggled. That's a mark.
It's a good out bodies. This is a good body. Yeah, those sort of marks here. We were pretty lucky all the way through the game, but the ball was bouncing our way, or we'd get a hand in here and there. But yeah, they got a couple of little easy marks here and goals, which just gave them a little bit more of a sniff.
So Franklin gets his second. And just for the moment, Hawthorn under a little pressure.
The Swans, for now, had halted momentum.
So they kicked the last couple. Terrific tackle on Parker. Well done by Tippett, though. So Franklin in the middle for the moment, banging to half forward. Jetto's been quiet, went without it. Stratton did well, just corralled it for Gibson. And then Gibson's kick to Hill. It's had a good quarter, Hill. Jetta is ice cold for the moment, isn't he? So Hill with that long kick to Rioli, free kick short against Franklin.
Frontal interference.
Gee, there's a bit of star power there, isn't there, when Buddy runs into Cyril.
Rioli off his step. Rough head, but at 6 goals last weekend. Different story this afternoon, but so far haven't really needed him.
Is there any alteration to your mindset here? They've got a bit of a run on. You know, there's only about 4 minutes to go to half time. You've got a good lead. Do you start to think of blocking it up, or do you stick to exactly the way you've been going about it the whole time?
I think we probably were happy to slow the game down a little bit. Even the last time we got the footy, you saw we were perhaps a little bit slower with the ball movement, trying to suck the life out of the game, because it's clear at the moment that they've got momentum, and when they've got that, we want to try and limit the amount of scoring that they're going to get.
So nothing obvious from Malcheski here. Gets it as far as he can. Still dangerous, McAvoy, Tippett. Oh, well done, Rioli, getting it back, and then beautifully to Roughhead.
Ellie, are you surprised that a ruckman tried to play sleight of hand on Cyril there?
I don't know what he's trying to do. Even if you're a little patient, do that around Cyril.
So Ruffy with a chance here to really hammer home the advantage. Has he done it? He does. Ruffy's on the board, and Hawthorn stretch the lead again.
McAvoy waits over the top, Tippett.
Mine.
That goal got it out to 42 points now. Don't forget, 44 is the biggest margin ever. 1970 Carlton to come back and won.
Mitchell dragged down. Lewis, McAvoy, Burgoyne, Stratton. He's played nicely. Goes to the outer side. Hanbury trying to fox his own spoil. Oh, well done. Hill picked his pocket. He goes the other way. Spots Parker. Fancies himself. He takes off around the outer side. Too clever by half. Awkward kick. Suckling. Burgoyne. Lewis favoured by his left side. Sends it long and deep. Up in front, Shields. Malcheski at the back.
Had a reasonable run at it here, Sam. But they're starting to show signs that, even if they're 40-something points on, that's for sure. But they're starting to show signs of breakdown. Reed's having to go into the back line. They're starting to get players into positions that they would never have wanted to had it started to go right. Can you feel that out in the ground?
No, I think probably what I was thinking at this point was that they've had a lot of the play, but we've been able to limit their scoring, which has been a good result. And probably, as you mentioned, happy that they've tried to change things. I think at quarter time we said, oh, they might try and change something. So just be aware of what the trends are in the game early in the second quarter. And then we were on top, so we probably didn't know what they were doing, really. And then since they've got the ball back, they've had a few, like Bud was up the ground a fair bit, Goods came into the ruck, Malcheski's got his hands on it a fair bit in this quarter. So they've changed a few things, and we just needed to be aware of them. And although it's helped us on the scoreboard, because we've still been going pretty well in that area, the change was a little bit of a concern. Even though the scoreboard looks good, if you watch the quarter without the scoreboard, perhaps they had the majority of the play.
33 plays 75, almost half-time. Hanbury has been hit hard this afternoon. Jack's away. Hand passes to Parker. Pretty well held this afternoon, but he goes looking for Franklin. Franklin over the top. It's going to be against Hodge. No. He looked back over his shoulder, almost prepared to concede. The umpire said play on. Some respect there too.
I realised it was him, and I was hoping, like, hell, there was someone coming over the back. Play had stopped and there was no one within 20 metres, and we sort of just looked at each other, looked like we got pretty close, and I think left with a bit of a grin. But I think that's the mutual respect we got, all the boys have for Bud.
They need to get one right here. They're not going to. I don't think Spanger belted away, and Hawthorn are going to take this massive lead in at half-time.
Nice footy.
And that'll be it.
And walking in at half-time, do you guys talk to each other on the way in and sort of reconfirm things, or do you look forward? Do you look back or look forward when you're walking in here?
Oh, I think back. You're making sure that everyone thinks the same thing happened in the quarter. Sometimes, a defender might think that the game's been played one way and we need to do something. And mids might think the opposite. So you want to try and figure out what the general consensus of the quarter was, so that then you can go and feed that into the coaches. The coaches can come up with whatever they think's the key for the second half will be. So there'll be a lot of conversations in ones and twos, and then you sort of get a feel for it. It's not formalised, but we just chat about what we think happened in the quarter and what we think we need to do, and then guys like Hodgie and Taz and Ruffy will feed that into the coaches, and they'll give us a plan for how we're going to go after the second half.
Yeah, they're a good side, so we knew they were going to come out hard. So I think that was a bit of Clarko's message at half-time was, we know they're going to come out hard, so let's try and match them here.
Yeah, we knew that if they got a jump in the start of this second half, that it could really come back to really hurt us.
Well, I think Hodgie's speech out on the ground was a bit better than the year before, where he asked Fremantle to come back at us. He hoped they kicked the first four, so I think he tailored it around us and just making sure that, we played a good half of football, that we were playing a quality outfit, and we couldn't just rest on our lead and make sure we got the job done in the second half.
Start of the third term of the grand final, margin 42 points. Hawthorn on top. Good bounce too. Hangs in the heavens. Pike wins it down. Parker, they closed him down.
Fine pinned.
Back to McAvoy. Ball up.
Just structurally, you just see Buddy Franklin in and around the stoppage there. He's in the centre circle as he started up on the wing. Gary Rowan's actually pushed forward for the Swans, and Bird charged in from half forward.
Parker, third man up, knocked it down. McLean has a poke at it. Bird gets it across to Parker. Hurriedly by Pike. Helped on its way down there by Reid. Chopped off by Stratton to Gibson. Sol Shields into trouble holding the footy.
You'd be happy to get that one from Gibbo Shields. Hold that.
Thanks, Gib.
Well, you came to me at half-time and said get you into the game, so...
Second disposal in a couple of minutes, kicks to full forward. Goods outnumbered. Good fist away coming from the back. I think it was McAvoy involved. It's been so good. Lewis getting it out. Sydney need the third. Oh, gee, Hodgie hard there on Malcheski.
Sydney.
So now Chesky set it up here. He's a beautiful kick. Not much happening forward for him, so he's just going to poke it. Rowan, big fly. Lake was a flyer as well. Burgoyne. Back to Lewis. So Lewis, the third disposal early in this term. And then Hodge pretty happy to see it roll over for a boundary throw in.
And Cunningham has taken the Hill match up on the win. Most of us predicted that in the pre-game, but didn't eventuate. But now Cunningham onto that position.
Pike, who's been manful, may have knocked it down. Backing out of trouble, Smith. Down goes Mitchell. Bird, active. Malcheski floats one towards the pocket, reaching in Tippett. Goes over the top of Lake, still going Tippett. Hill was waiting for him, open-armed. They battle about 40 metres out from goal.
Good tackle here by Healy on a bigger opponent.
It's a good thing about the whole day, though. Everyone was physical.
Tippett, can he get rid of one? Gets to Bird. Bird doesn't get the angle. Belted away by Stratton. Puopolo will be hard to bring down.
Now, this is a good run, this one, suckers, but I don't reckon you were happy to get the ball back again at the end of it, were you?
Absolutely not.
And is it Shieldsy that gives it back now?
Yeah, I had nothing left to give here. I think I just try and
Just chase that.
Pig in mud.
Been a really good run. Happy just to lock that in, I reckon.
Oh, and I'm so far from the bench now too.
Hennebury, who was really hit hard, wasn't he, in the opening half? He's had a fair bit of the ball, Hennebury. Don't think he's hurt them, though, with the footy. 12th disposal. Tippett and Franklin, the Twin Towers. Paid to Tippett. Now, who's he got to go to? Well, Rioli's done him again for the second time. And then Lake belching it forward. Held, well done there by Gunston. Langford will use him. This is danger. Gunston's a smart thinker. Goes to full forward. And, well, Gert Tippett, when he's around Cyril Rioli, it hasn't been a good result, I can tell you.
It's funny you see that, though. Like, people always talk about, you know, Cyril's not a high possession player, you know, and he needs to win more of the footy, but he does acts like that, which, you know, start a chain and kick a goal that you don't see on the stat sheet at the end, but he does that all year round. That's why he's so valuable for us.
Is there a mini panic in opposition players around him?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be coming out of defence.
Exactly, yeah, I know.
Taking your time looking for an option.
So Ruffy to kick a second and to give Hawthorn the biggest lead of the match.
15 gone.
Got it. Hawthorn get the first goal after half-time.
82 plays 33. Jared Ruffhead, 72 goals for the season now. So many dangerous players on that forward line this afternoon. Bucks go at it. Kennedy, well, it came back to him. Hodge advanced it. Gibson, Birchall. Got towards half forward. Gunston gets separation. There's nobody better in that situation than Gunston. If he gets a step on you, you're in real trouble.
That's a really important mark by you there. Good body usage, early jump, shielded the ball, turned the body in the air. So that's a really important mark against him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a very athletic. He's probably a little bit smaller than, I guess, a sort of key defender, but I think he weighs probably about 90 kilos. He's quick. He's got a good left peg on him, and yeah, we've had some pretty good battles, and he's probably got the chocolates.
What had been happening with your kicking today?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It was, I'll blame the wind. It was a bad cast.
Kick is on the way. It looks good. Gunston making the Bloods bleed. Gets his second.
He missed a couple in the first half, which was very, very unlike him. And I said to him at half time, I said, come on, what's going on? Are you all right, mate? Like, what's happening? He goes, I'll kick the next one, I promise.
Didn't have a go at me, just had a good joke with me at half time about my goal kicking and how it's been reasonably good all year. And why I'd missed the first two, and I just told him I'd definitely kick the next one.
It's been the question mark all year. How do you stop Hawthorn from scoring? Well, not today. Lewis, Hill and McVeigh. It's a rout at the moment. Hill taking McVeigh on. Puopolo, they're just too quick for them. Didn't think I'd be saying that. Kicks to full forward. Plenty of Swans fly for it. Jack. Langford just worried him out of it. Lewis, Langford, back to Gunston. Got such an IQ, Gunston with the ball in hand. That one, Rowan might cut off, he doesn't. Shields, trapped it down. Rioli went to ground. Kennedy, he's tried. We haven't seen much of this. This is the first time we've seen it. Rowan taking off. A second bounce, misses it. Gets to Buddy. No, he doesn't. Decides to wind it up.
Sends it long down towards Tippett. It bounces on the kick-off line. Goes at right angles. Didn't expect that this afternoon. And out of bounds. 88 to 33. Boundary throw in left full forward. Punt road end. McAvoy. Pike. Pike with the left hand. Mitchell.
It's like a vacuum cleaner around these packs. Jack has a shot. Hanbury gave him the footy and Jack puts it through belatedly.
I think out of this next one, Bud marks it out of the centre square. I was shattered after that rampy run. I tackled Kennedy and he split my eye open. And Bud was kept telling the umpire, Gibson's got blood, send him off, send him off. They didn't send me off. The next one comes out, he marks it and kicks a goal. It's bloody filthy. Like, why didn't you listen to him? Send me off the field.
Against you.
No, cost me.
They need to just get the next 2 or 3 goals. That's the thing, just to get a bit of energy by getting their scoreboard ticking over.
So that realisation that you can't win's not there yet, is it? So Jack puts it up forward.
That's the one.
That's it.
No 50?
No 50, mate.
Because the boys all made him earn it.
Yeah.
Surely you've been sent off by now.
Umpire can't see it.
He just got tapped on the shoulder there. He got blood. Is that Benny McGlynn, I think, might have done it?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good.
Bit too late.
Yeah.
Kick a third goal here. He's got one in each of the first 2 quarters. He struck it really well. I think he has. He's kicked 3, buddy. They've kicked 2 in a minute and a half.
This is probably the stage where you're thinking they've kicked 2 in a row.
Yeah.
It could be sort of the comeback sort of coming here, and we know Freo came back last year, got within 3 points. So
That's probably why Clarko was panicking in the box there.
This is Grundy, just forward of the wing.
Need to avoid Hale and Stratton and Burgoyne, the halfbacks for the Hawks.
That's a long list as the ball bounces down towards half forward. Burgoyne the fumble uncharacteristically. Oh, Lake! And a trampoline over the top of Tippett.
He does some freaky things, like Ian. You know, we take the good with the bad, but he's, he's great to have down back, and he's had a massive impact since he's come to the club, and helped blokes like myself out so much.
I was probably behind my opponent a little bit too much. Clarko wouldn't have liked that, but the ball just set up nicely coming out of a stoppage, and I thought I'd like to go for my marks. I think it's time to go for it, and it's stuck.
A bit worried when he's got to kick the ball, though, because he can put a few little up and unders in sometimes, can't he?
Yeah, we don't mind running around the back and asking him for a handball. He's probably not that poor a kick, but when you got blokes like Birchall and Hodge and Burgoyne, these guys coming out of our back line, they make you look pretty average.
Sydney giving a yelp but barely. Spanger knocks it wide. Roughhead needs to be careful now. Tackled. He dived on the footy, but he was taken high. Roughhead. 2 goals alongside his name. 60 metres from home. Centres it. Oh, Jack got a hand in there. Cunningham has been very quiet, taken to ground. Well played by Lloyd to Rampy. Rampy up towards the wing. Just sweeping in behind Lake. Burgoyne comes wide to Gibson. Bandaged up now. Kicks towards half forward. Bird clean bowled. Roughhead improvising. So too Mitchell. That was brilliant. Reflex stuff. Hodge to Hill. Bruce runs the boundary. Pulls it back towards the middle. Ambitious kick. Off hands to the back. Puopolo. Suckling could kick this. He's brilliant on the left boot. And he puts it through.
Really measured that one, though, didn't you? I mean, it wasn't an instinct snap, and a lot of time they come off. You actually got the set square out and measured that up.
Yeah, I didn't want to miss it. Obviously, I didn't win the last couple of years, so I really want to make the most of it. And as you see from the celebration, got a bit carried away, but yeah, I was happy with it.
Probably had about 20 blokes get around you then, didn't you?
Yeah, it was nice.
Seeing Suck kick that just really lifted the boys. It's probably one of the key driving factors for us as a group was to get one for the blokes who missed out last year. So to see Suck kick on grand final day was pretty special.
How did you like that celebration in slow motion, mate?
It's shocking, I hate saying it. It felt good, it looks shocking.
Suckling. He used late, no he won't. In trouble now. Cunningham pursues him. Goes around the outer side with precision. And the hairy journeyman runs away. That's Spanger. Relayed free kick. They'll take the advantage. Don't worry about that. Hill's away. Nobody near him. Down he comes towards the 50. Spots a man on the move. Roughhead. And Roughhead is marked. 25 metres out. That was surgical.
Gibbo, the inclusion over the last 3 or 4 years, there's always been really good, hard midfielders. But look, Will's pace now. But then you've got Hilly and Isaac Smith, their ability to run and carry and just cover the ground with real good pace. It's almost like a get-out-of-jail card.
Yeah, it is. And, it's an area people have probably questioned us in the past is our outside running ability. And there's nothing nicer when you're a defender. You just kick a monk out to the boundary line, trying to clear the defensive 50, and you see that Izzy or Hilly's chasing after it. You know that they can quickly turn just that 50-50 into a scoring opportunity for us like this. And Hilly's development over the last couple of seasons has been phenomenal, and he's such an important cog in the way we play.
It's not only his run; it's pass, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's passes inside 50 like that. That's where he's taking his game to another level. That most of the time when he goes inside 50, he's hitting the target.
Plan the parade. Still a way to go, but he's got 3.
And they were lining up for a piece of the action, but not everything went to plan.
Doesn't really get a piece of this one. It's one of the worst kicks off the boot you'll ever see.
Oh, right.
An instep reverse torque floater.
You'd been working on that.
Here's Lewis. Oh!
That's a shocker.
That's how you forward like it, isn't it? You prefer that over the way that Hilly kicks it in?
Dislocated fingers.
Unpredictable.
Moving on. Play on.
It was a warm day too, and the players would be absolutely spent sort of compounding the issues confronting the Swans at the minute.
McAvoy just too tall for Gibson, but it was Birchall. They can't get their hands on a Sydney at all. And then Lewis to Bruce. Bruce couldn't quite. Parker. Oh, Kennedy, hot handball. Langford will be dangerous. Gives Kennedy a little shove. Kennedy up the back, had to retreat. Parker, Langford worrying. Then goal! Yes! He's kicked the third, and that tops them all. Goal of the match of the grand final.
Patron.
Hit an 8 on.
The second go.
It is going to go down as one of the great grand final moments. It's an incredible goal against great opposition on an incredible day.
How do you feel you hit it, mate? Be honest.
Well, I thought I hit it well and was going straight, but I didn't think it was going to bounce sort of 2 stories high and just go straight as an arrow. So I certainly think I got a bit lucky with that one.
As a person watching the game, though, I felt like you'd made your own luck. You didn't just get lucky, you forced the luck to go your way. That's the way it seemed to me, the whole game and everything you did.
Yeah, well, like I said, probably it started with just sort of chasing Joey and shoving him and just sort of harassing him, and that's, I suppose, the basic part of the game. It's a high-pressure game, a grand final. So I wanted to bring that, and you bring that, and then you see what happens sort of as a result of that.
Yeah, my initial response was it was going to be a spray if you missed it. We'd been pretty good at dishing those ones off during the year, so. But once he kicked it, I mean, you can't really have a go at him for.
You were calling for the hands, weren't you?
Yeah.
His final series was exceptional, and but you probably got to know a little bit about the character of the kid and the history of the family and all that sort of stuff. He's a very, very determined character. He got a dream of wanting to play in an AFL grand final and do well, and he achieved it this year.
McVeigh, these high balls made for defenders. Over the top, thumped away down there by Gunston, deep back in defence.
Back, advantage, yours.
Gibson.
Is that Hodges' first kiss?
Obviously, the ball was 50 metres away, thinking the ball's not going. No one's going to have a camera on him. Stupidly that was, because of course they're going to have a camera on him. So I went to run off, and next thing there was about 70,000 people start laughing. I'm thinking, I've turned around and saw the end of it, and then one thing I was pleased with it was Bud had a smile on his face, so he knew I wasn't being a smart aleck. It was more in good fun between mates. And then my next concern was when the runner came out near, was Clark going to spray me for being a smart aleck? So on both accounts I got away scot-free, which was good.
Look at Clarkson's record. I mean, so close to joining John Kennedy Sr. and Yabby Jeans. Goods, McGlynn, arched the back, quickly onto the boot, kicks to tip and a full forward. That's a good mark. That was courageous. gets it home. So Tippett's on the board and the Swans get their 8th goal. So they're getting some numbers back here, Hawthorn. Rioli gets away from Goods. He's going to get a mighty cheer tonight, Rioli, when they get the medal. McVeigh, Tippett and Lake. Oh, brilliant mark.
Great grab. It's a good mark, isn't it?
And then he does something like that. It's a big win. Massive win. Tippett had kicked the goal.
And then take a bit of time so everyone can see it afterwards.
Yeah.
He loves that, doesn't he?
I know. But, Tippett would have been up and about, as he said. He kicked the last and great. It's great 1v1.
He's moved him beyond the drop of the ball too, so it's real power.
Yeah, he's so strong, Lakey. I don't enjoy wrestling him at training at all, but he's got really strong core. You can't. He's very hard to move.
But there's nothing wrong with Buddy's movement.
Pike, Parker did well. Gives Franklin half a chance, and he's. Oh, they're going to love that one. Oh, we'll get a free kick here.
Right, Gib, you need to tell us about this. He gets goal side of it, and then you get let off the hook because he shanks it out in the full. And then you thought, bugger this, I'm going to give him one anyway and give a downfield free kick away.
He got goal side of me and I was twitching. And then he shanked it and I was excited. I went to let him know how excited I was and gave him a second chance. And the only relieving thing was they gave the ball to Tippett.
So Tippett, the recipient, kicked a goal a couple of minutes ago. This is tougher. And just misses.
In 2 words, it encompass what he is. There he is. As if on cue, short. Smith. Hill loops it over the top. Gunston himself under pressure. Birchall breaks away from half-back. Searing kick up towards the wing. Langford almost. Oh, wonderful recovery. Wonderful poise. Comes away, drives it from the wing. Down towards the pocket. Malcheski gets back and takes the mark.
It's been pretty good, Malcheski. Kicks to Bird.
Stay out.
Jetta back on. Interesting, he still hasn't been able to touch it, has he? So, wonder about the concussion. Shaw wanting someone to come. Gives Tippett, well, he'll take a Tippett in front of Mitchell. Tippett high up and under, terrible kick. Reed outnumbered, Gibson picks it off. And then Hodge, hard as always. And a boundary throw in. Gee, Langford, what a game. What a final series.
Fits the cookie cutter, doesn't it? Just so tough. Hand in a glove, as far as Hawthorn are concerned. Falling to the ground, Kennedy tried to feed it back. Well done by Shields. Just knocked it across the Burgoyne on the siren.
The siren goes for three-quarter time, you're 9 goals up. There's got to be some sort of degree of comfort around there. I'm getting nothing out of this. 9 goals up at three-quarter time.
At this stage, it's our game to lose. We just know we've got to keep doing what we're doing and at least match them in the last quarter and stay with them for the first 20 minutes. We knew we had 20 minutes of good footy left for the season and the premiership was out.
Start of the final term in the grand final. Great bounce. Pike slaps it down. Kennedy had it momentarily. Jack driven into the ground. McLean smothered off the boot by Gibson. Jetta has had a poor day. Oh, that was well played. Hodge again goes back to Suckling. Suckling towards half forward. In front Gunston getting a fist in Richards. Shields, Gibson measures the kick. Now they've got a problem. He'll play on immediately. Smith runs to 50 and gives it to Bruce, who's kicked 2.
I guess like all year, just went back to the mark pretty confident and knew that if I sat on the right post that there was a slight breeze there that would hopefully draw in and yeah, that's how it played out.
Oh, Bruce puts it through.
You must have felt like just kicking into party time when Punky slots this one.
Yeah, not quite yet, I think.
I guess, Bung, you've spent a fair bit of time with Clarko. What would you reckon you would have said if we started celebrating at this stage?
No, I understand, but subconsciously I think you can start thinking, yeah, we're in a pretty strong position.
I think he got told that 2 minutes to go in the box just to settle down, we've won the game.
Yeah,
so that's his mindset.
But you're sitting on the bench. You've been there for 3 and a bit quarters. You're obviously wrapped. They're heading to a win. Are you thinking, come on, somebody just get a little twinge or something?
I was thinking that in the first quarter. No, look, I was sort of just looking on in amazement, really. The way we were playing, I was just pretty happy that the team was in that position, so then when I came on, I could just basically enjoy myself. So watching Punky kick that first goal definitely took a lot of pressure off me on the bench and obviously the rest of the team, knowing that if we could stifle them at the start, it's a long way, goes a long way to us getting the win, so.
Uncertain, loads it up, terrible kick.
The disappointing thing from Sydney, no one was demanding the ball ahead of centre there. It's a defeatist looked, unfortunately, from the Swans' point of view.
Stratton gave it to Hodge to Mitchell. Sam Mitchell. Gibson to Hodge. Down towards half forward. Shields, metres in the clear. Runs inside the 50. Can line up at goal. No, goes short to Roughhead instead. Roughhead's got 3 goals. And look at that.
I remember coming off and ended up shaking hands, and he just said to me, all that hard work has paid off, and you made it here. And I ended up, just thanking him and for everything he did for me over that, 10 weeks that I was out. So, yeah, definitely a big thank you.
His 12th game of the season, a winning grand final. More cream. 4 goals to Jared Roughhead.
There's a tear there, Cyril.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just reflecting on the bench those last few minutes and thinking, 2 weeks ago, I probably, pulled the pin on playing. So, yeah, a lot of emotions flowing through there.
It started to hit him that, what the past, I suppose, 4 months had, led to, because I suppose for 2 months there was it was just Cyril watch out here. Everyone was out here just trying to watch him train, or every interview or presser that we did, it was just all about Cyril. So poor fella had a fair bit of stress on his shoulders for that last month and a bit coming into the finals.
I think at this point here, a lot of players recognise just how tough it had been for Junior for his previous 10 weeks, and there's a lot of mental anguish trying to get yourself right from injury, and a particular long-term injury like Cyril's. So there was a fair amount of emotion on the bench in that last quarter when Cyril came off and took the red vest.
What did he say to you, Taylor, when he made the changeover?
I was that excited to get on. Actually, it was about running before I was allowed to, so I had to come back. And Cyril just said, pretty much, good luck, mate, your turn now. And yeah, so I'm always going to be indebted to Cyril, because without him coming off, I was never getting a chance, really. So
McAvoy slams it forward. The pressure unrelenting. Malcheski comes away though, kicks it down towards half forward. In front, Kennedy juggles the mark.
Thank you. Play on.
Plays on, squares it. McVeigh pushing up from the wing. Hill comes to the mark. The lookalike storming past Shaw. Demands it, kicks long, but he's off target. Goods is down there and takes the mark. Runs around, snaps, and he's kicked his second.
Not a good kick coming out from Shaw. Mitchell, lovely give, Lewis, back to Mitchell. So skillful. And then Mitchell off a step. McAvoy wrestled out, and Rowan. Just 4 disposals for Rowan today.
To Shaw, to space. Giray scales this up, and in place of Brioli. Gathers the bouncing footy. Hodge putting his stamp on things now.
I think I was running around for about 3 or 4 minutes. I thought, geez, this would be absolutely shameful if I don't get a touch in the granny. So, yeah, they all sort of came at once there once I got my first one, so relieved a bit of the pressure.
Great to see Taylor Giray getting involved and clean possession, putting on a tackle. He'd be feeling good about himself at the moment. I love the flexibility of the Hawthorn side. They've thrown so many different looks through the middle of the ground and up forward to the Swans, and they've played the game totally on their terms.
Burgoyne, Shields, Birchall, Giray back to Virgil, back to Giray, and he just rides the tackle from Pike and then kicks to half forward. Grundy at the back, Gunston check sides it very cleverly. Rowan, well done, because Puopolo was bearing down. Goes wide to McVeigh. Playing most of the match at half-back. Hasn't had much of an impact, McVeigh. That's a good kick to Hanbury.
Hanbury runs outside the centre square for Franklin. Oh, well done, but he was holding on late. Saw the jumper stretch. He's tried very hard, Buddy Franklin. He's got 4 in a losing cause. Giray off his step. Gibson. Franklin dutifully picks up the mark. It'll be interesting to see his reaction after the final siren. He's been to war with the opposition. So many close friends.
I don't even know if we texted that week. We sort of went a bit quiet on the text trail. There might have been one early in the week. I think I texted him one and he gave me nothing back. So it was a lot quieter that week. So I guess we sort of knew that we'd be playing on one another, and done it a few times this year. And after the game it was all fine, but that week we were a little quiet on the text. He's giving me nothing.
Burgoyne, long. Oh, that's, well, if it was Rioli, I'd say delicious. That's icing on a cake, isn't it?
Got a clap from the coach, but not a smile. Still a little intense in there, aren't we?
Many have said to me, that they felt that the game was over by half time. I didn't feel that at all. We've got so much regard for Sydney as an opponent. We've had some great battles with them, particularly over the last 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't until probably Shawnee kicked that goal that I started to feel really comfortable that we were going to win the game.
So, Louis, you're playing well in the grand final. The game's under control. There's probably you, Hodgie and Mitch. At what stage of the last quarter do you start thinking Norm Smith might be coming my way?
I sort of put the cue in the rack in the last quarter. About 15 minutes ago, I was cooked, and I just sort of... I reckon if there was a camera on me, I did not move within a 10-metre vicinity, so...
I bet you didn't run to the bench, though.
Hey?
I bet you didn't run to the bench.
I wasn't going to the bench. That's one place I wasn't going to. No, listen, all that was coming to my mind was another premiership, and that far outweighs whatever individual award is given on the day.
It's pretty hard to win Norm Smith, though. Very hard.
Are you done? Are you still...
No, this is good.
Hodgie, from here in, you rack up some possessions here. Not all of them hard-earned like the normal way you get them. Are you thinking I could be in line for another medal here?
Not at all. I've been watching Mitch and Hilly all day, so I thought I might go out in the wing and try and get a bit of ball out there. I think when you get it late in the game, it's just more, if you do get the ball, you try and hold up and enjoy the moment. And I think I was enjoying a little bit too much because most of my kicks actually I kick back to the Sydney Swans players.
Shaw, high ball inside the forward 50. Franklin backs himself again. Couldn't reel it in. Giray, Shields, Gibson. Shields, left half back, Langford. Found a player on this guy. Just lobs it towards the wing, and Lewis. I wouldn't like to be voting on the Norm Smith.
He's going to be prominent, we know that. He'll be first, second or third.
You know you've got a one, but is there an element of winning with great dignity?
Oh, there is, and we, that's part of our values as a footy club, that we want to be humble and gracious in victory or defeat. We felt like we handled that side of things really, really well, despite the disappointment of 2012. And we've got both players and coaching staffs have got enormous empathy for what's required to play at the professional level, and particularly at the pointy end of the season. So, whilst we're fierce competitors on the field, we've also got enormous empathy for what's required. And we know that the Sydney boys will be really disappointed with their loss in this grand final, just like we were 2 years before, and they don't need us rubbing their noses in the dirt and being ungracious in victory.
They're out here, the Swans. Cunningham, McGlynn. We'll have to wait for that elusive premiership.
Stay out, play on.
Parker belting high to Tippett. Getting back well done, McAvoy. Jack should kick a goal though. Hooks it back and does.
You're still talking down back, Strats? What sort of, when a goal happens, you still get together and reaffirm the message? And
at this stage, yeah, definitely. Getting a big huddle and give everyone a pat on the back. I remember him running past Luke Bruce somewhere around this stage and said, I'm not going off now, I'm staying on the final siren. And yeah, it just felt like it was sort of floating on the grass and pretty epic feeling.
Bounced it well this afternoon, the umpies. McAvoy, Lewis, knocked down by Parker. Hodge, knocked away this time by Rowan in the opposite direction. Parker, slick hands. Goods on the burst, looks inside the forward 50. They close on Reed. Knocked behind the pack by Stratton. Well played by Lake. Gibson works a little 1-2, and the defenders get it out of there, close to the boundary line. Giray.
He certainly quickly got into the rhythm of the match, has he? I know he came on at a time at our home. A fourth running bounce, a fifth, and then on the wrong side for him.
In the back, downfield.
Oh, there you go.
Downfield, in the back. You're chalking them up now, Doc, even having bounces and going onto your right peg.
It took too many bounces, and I ran out of space, and I mucked that up a little bit, but thankfully free kick downfield and Ruffy slots his fifth.
So it's a rarity these days, a handful of goals on grand final day. Welcome to the club, Ruffy.
Surely now you know. You celebrate now, aren't you? Surely. Or do you still keep it in check a little?
I remember turning around at one stage and Grant Birchall was dancing in the middle of the circle, centre circle. So at that stage I thought, and he can't dance. So when he was sort of busting a move,
you've put him in a sugar.
Bung, word of my life. He loves his dancing. He was dancing.
Oh, look, I don't mind a little dance.
If we can get it
let's go.
Margin 57 points. McAvoy with strength. Rowan knocks it the other way. Langford on one knee. Hodge, wonderful vision. Shields, Smith, Burgoyne. Can't do it much better than that. His fifth grand final. From 40 metres out. You guessed it. They continue to celebrate. They'll celebrate long into the night.
With just minutes left on the clock, there was still time for one final statement of total commitment.
Hodge, well, just hasn't stopped and maybe has overshadowed all his teammates now in the race for Norm Smith.
Now the Hawthorn supporters are up when Hodge got the ball.
Yeah, they're casting their vote. Close to the boundary line, McGlynn slapped it forward. Two former Hawthorn players combining there. Kennedy down towards half foot. Wonderful courage by Stratton. He's going to get a free kick.
Well, that's the sort of stuff that would please Alistair Clarkson know. When they've played the game out, they've won the quarter at this stage, they've extended their lead by 9 points. They're playing the very depth of the game. So impressive.
He had no right to win that footy, and he did, and it just reflected what we'd been like for the whole game. Really, just really tough and hard, and played the game in the right spirit, and got a fantastic result for our club.
Burgoyne, ball in hand, belts it to full forward. Spanger last seconds, could Spanger do it? Couldn't quite.
I think he was shepherded out of it anyway.
But this great team, the best team of the modern era of the last 50 years, produces its masterpiece. They've never been better than this.
So with the sounding of the siren, Hawthorn would win their 12th premiership, their second in as many years, and stamp themselves as the most dominant side of the modern era.
Look, to be able to go there and win a grand final with your teammates in front of all the fans and that, it's one of the best feelings you'll have.
That feeling that they say you can't explain, which I can't at the moment, but I think it wasn't until about 20 minutes later where I was sort of overcome with emotion. It's something you build yourself up for over many years, and it's pretty special.
When things are at the toughest, it seems that's when Hawthorn are at their best. And in the last 2 years, we've had to face some enormous adversity. You know, the resilience of the group and the history and culture of this place has meant that we've been able to respond really well to those over a long period of time.
Hawthorn's mantra, it's not the team that wins premierships, it's the club.
Everyone who's played with Sully understands what he's put in for our football club. Like he's the most selfless person you'd want around, and to sort of see him miss out in the last 2 games, you had to feel for him. But he's still leading up into the grand final, was still saying and giving his insight on when you play against Joey Kennedy, when you play against the other midfielders, this is what he does that works. True professional in everything he does, but such a good teammate as far as up until the grand final, even post the grand final. No doubt it was tough for him, but you couldn't tell everything he did was class.
I suppose the last couple of years have been a bit tough, and yeah, to get a premiership with all my mates was pretty special, and they're probably 2 blokes I'm really close with, so I was lucky that it turned out that way, that they were close, and yeah, a couple of nice images.
Look, to be able to go there and win a grand final with your teammates in front of all the fans and that, it's one of the best feelings you'll have.
This has been a Fox Footy production, part of the Fox Sports Network.